have heard my defense. I would not repeat the details. In talking to you perhaps for the last time, I declare that my conscience reproaches me with nothing. My defenders have told you the truth. I never feared the public examination of my conduct, but my heart is torn by the imputation that I would want to shed the blood of the people, and especially that the misfortunes of August 10th be attributed to me. I avow that the many proofs that I have always acted from my love of the people, and the manner in which I have always conducted myself, seem to prove that I did not fear to put myself forward in order to spare their blood, and forever prevent such an imputation. Esteemed gentlemen of the court, my fellow Frenchmen, as monarch of this country, I have fought endlessly to better this great nation from the low it has reached under previous rulers. I have done nothing to inspire thoughts of treason such as this, holding a trial against your own king, your leader, threatening the man who does nothing but fight for you with a hideous and gruesome death fit for a terrorist, a tyrant, an absolute criminal. Why would you all feel compelled to fight against me here today, when this trial itself is ludicrous, absolutely absurd in its entirety? It is not like I have ignored you for all these years. If anything, I have done the exact opposite of that. I called, for the first time in 175 years, a meeting of the Estates General, which in itself is enough to show I have listened to my people. And I have allowed my citizens to act out their opinions. They were able to create the Declaration of the Rights of Man, as well as a new constitution. Which leads me to ask this. Who here is it not following these decrees, particularly the Constitution? Is it the man on trial, who his whole life has worked for nothing but the well-being of the French people? Or is it the madmen overseeing the trial, who have stormed our land with wicked accusations of treason and neglect to his land, depicting the innocent as a heartless tyrant working against the people he has sworn to protect? I have often been depicted as seeing myself as a god among men, looking down on every single person in this room and across this entire country. There is no truth to these claims. I am no better a man than anyone in this room. I have simply inherited a right to lead our great land, and by God, I intend to keep doing so. I have ruled fairly and equally, but some of you may intend to claim otherwise, particularly citing the raising of bread prices, that many of you do not see the necessity of doing so. Would you rather have a France with high bread prices, or no France at all? This leads me to the collection of taxes.
Oh, God.
Please contain yourself. Let the king speak.
This leads me to the collection of taxes. Taxes are completely necessary as to ensure our great land does not fall behind other nations, particularly Britain. Speaking of Britain, I try my hardest to ensure we do not fall behind them. This leads to the funding of the American Revolution. We played a role in crushing a large part of the British Empire in North America. If you have any doubts about the role we played, feel free to ask our good friend Thomas Paine, as I'm sure he would love to tell you all about how much our help was appreciated and contributed to the crushing of the oppressive British forces. While on the subject of spending, many of you assault my wife's taste in expensive wardrobe. It is true she does spend her fair share of money on her clothes, and I've tried many times to lower her intake of funds. But there are certain necessities which she must possess in order to keep France a respectable nation. You have all seen the garb of other rulers in their lives. Now imagine a lineup of rulers from around the world, and if my wife was there, dressed in the clothes of a common citizen, she would be laughed at, mocked, looked down upon, and overall this would be detrimental to our image as a nation. Thus, her dressing extravagantly is necessary to an extent in order to keep our reputation as a nation clean and reputable. Finally, I would like to address what many of you have questioned, my motives. What keeps me going each and every day? Why do I keep insisting that France stay ahead of the others and that I remain its leader? All that I do, everything I do every day, is in the name of our Lord. I do nothing he would disapprove of, because God is always watching, and he wants France and all of its people to succeed and prosper together. That is why I do what I do. It is all for God. So, my esteemed colleagues, please consider all I have said. even if your minds were decided long ago, even if you know in your heart that you must vote against me today, please, even if you have not listened to me, you have heard what I have to say. And from what I have said, there's no way that any of us should be here today, and no way that I am guilty of these outrageous charges which have been so wickedly and unjustly pressed against me.